Okay, again, very poor start. Hi everyone. So today I am going to be just how should I put it, brewing with Oathbreaker, because just found out today that Oathbreaker is a new format that has been unceremoniously added to the official formats of Wizards of the Coast. I don't see it becoming very big in the near future. Because I think it can be much more degenerate than Commander, and Commander is in itself quite degenerate potentially. So I think that's going to be a little bit of a problem. But at the same time, I like the idea of thinking about decks when we have these new formats, which is like a new environment for me. So what I would like to do first. Okay, what I would like to do here is, I don't know, I thought about building around proliferating. So, and then I kept thinking about, okay, so but what's the right commander for proliferating? Or Oathbreaker, sorry. Okay, so let's just make like a planeswalker deck, a deck that has plenty of planeswalkers, and I'm going to use proliferate effects to figure out what's to ultimate them. So let's start with, okay, which colors are best for proliferating? I think historically didn't check this, which I probably should have. Like, okay, so Phyrexia all will be one, or whatever it's called. It had a lot of black cards that had proliferate in them, especially at common. But historically, the colors with most proliferation, as far as if I remember correctly, are blue and green. So let's start with that. I guess the only, let's check. I think the only planeswalker with proliferation is Raska, yeah. So yeah, that could be another thing one might want to do. But okay, so type planeswalker, color identity, exactly green and blue. Okay, so these are our options. Oko. Oko isn't okay. I don't want to play Oko in my. I just don't want to play Oko in my command zone, because that's gonna elicit groans immediately. Kiora Behemoth Beginner could be interesting. But Kasmina Enigma Sage could be interesting here. So each other planeswalker you control has the loyalty abilities of Kasmina Enigma Sage. So at least I could scry quite fast. I could create fractal creatures. Okay, that's I think that's the one. Kasmina, just Is the +2 good with other planeswalkers? Like, obviously, you could just, with that ability, you can just ultimate many planeswalkers quite fast. So in that sense, it might be interesting. But on the other hand, Kiora Behemoth Beginner, it's ramp in my command zone. Green has a lot of creatures that have a power 4 or greater that are cheap, effective. So yeah, I think it's an uncommon, but yeah, I still think that it might be the best one here. Yeah, let's do it. But okay, so what would be the signature spell for our deck? So what we want is something that's legal in Oathbreaker, because I don't remember the ban list by heart. So let's do this. So let's check for color identity that's less or equal to blue-green, and the type is instant or sorcery, and it has the word proliferate in it. So contentious plan could be interesting. Experimental augury is more interesting because it's strictly better, because it's instant, and instead of just drawing a card, you get to look at 3 cards. Carnivorous Canopy could also be interesting because it's just good interaction. Fuel for the Cause could be interesting, except that you don't want to. I guess in Commander you do want to sort of tell everyone that you have a counter spell ready. Plain White Celebration is too expensive for a 60, because we're talking about 60 card decks. Unnatural Restoration could also be interesting. So yeah, it's either unnatural restoration or experimental augury. It's experimental augury. Except that I do want to play that as well. Contentious plan just kind of sucks. Like, compare these 2 cards. Like, this could be good for this. Contentious plan would definitely be good for our theme, but otherwise it's not very good. But yeah, Fuel for the Cause is also very expensive, so that's why I'm not necessarily that interested. But let's see what other proliferation. Whoops. Syntax. What other cards with proliferate do we have? So yes, Bloated Contaminator. So it's Bloated Contaminator, it's only 3 mana. It triggers the Kiora's ability, so I can draw a card with it. And it's toxic. So yeah, eventually I can kill people with it, with that and proliferation. And yeah, and I can proliferate with it. Canker Bloom, very flexible. So yes, Bloom Hulk, not very powerful compared to other cards I'm going to have, but let's put it in anyway. Contagion Engine, Contagion Clasp could be interesting. Oh yeah, Contagious Vorak, definitely. Oh yeah, before I forget, let's move these around. And experimental augury. Yeah, just so that I don't forget. Oh yeah, and just to check that the Bloom Hulk got into the deck. Yeah, it's there. The Bloom Hulk isn't very good. Like, again, it's not very powerful, but it does again trigger the trigger Kiora, which is positive. Uh, and did the canker bloom? Yeah. Okay. Contagion Clasp and Contagion Engine. So I'll put in the Contagion Engine. Not sure about the Contagion Clasp. It's easier to cast, but yeah, nah. Evolution Sage, yes. I guess Copper Longlegs is somewhat interesting. Contaminant Crafter. 5 mana, 5/5, Trample, Toxic 1. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to one or more players, proliferate. And Corrupted. Yes, definitely. I wasn't planning on doing the toxic thing, but corrupted thing that might work because then you don't have to actually get to the point where anyone is. It's actually dying from poison, but it's enough that you get to the 3 poisoned. I mean, this deck probably could kill at some point, but yeah. Ezori definitely. Flux Channeler. I don't think we'll have that many non-creature spells, but we do have 1 in 2 actually in our command zone. So yes. Merfolk Skydiver can proliferate with mana, so yes. Inexorable Tide. That's interesting. Is it interesting enough because it's 5 mana? If I want toxic kills, then yes. But I guess I'm moving away from my original idea. But anyway, let's not do that yet. Rolesk. Yes. Sword of Truth and Justice. Maybe. Ah, Tekutal, definitely. And also the Tainted Observer. And Thrumming Bird. Yes. And I'm thinking that's quite enough. Probably even too many, but okay. Let's check the Planeswalkers. Which one of these do we want? Not Arlin. Elvic is kind of interesting, but I'm not powerful enough. Freyal is Llanowar's Fury. Maybe. So let's see. Which one of these produce creatures that are 4/4s? There's actually one that I can immediately think of, which is okay, Nissa for 1. This is the latest, possibly last Nissa, but there is Vastwood Seer. I'm a big fan of Vastwood Seer. Yeah, Nissa who saves the world. Yes, let's do that as well. Ah, Mu Yangnin. Yes. Again, things that work well with Kiora. Do we want the Oko? Part of me says no. Part of me says that you should definitely play it. But I do hate that card so much. Probably want some J's. And yeah, Garruk. So this is just a good draw engine, especially if we have cards that have high toughness. Sorry, high power. Um, but also if we have the proliferate enough, then it's easy to just get this to, ultimate, and that also allows us to draw a bunch of cards. Um, hmm. I That's not a fan of J's. I should put in card liberated, but I don't want to, so I won't. Uh, I'll Narset is one of those things that just definitely shouldn't exist, but now it does exist in my deck. Uh, do I want to cast Mina? The good thing about Cosmina is that it does give those planeswalkers, namely Narset, that don't have any plus abilities normally something to do. So let's put it into the deck. Although it's not necessarily. I'll put in this cheaper version of Ugin, not the 8 mana version, because again, I just hate that. Vivian, Monsters Advocate, produces a little bit too. The creatures it produces are a little bit too small. Well, 3/3s they don't trigger the. Uh, but Vivian of the Hunt does trigger Kiora, so yes. And Vivian Reed and Renan 7. These are two cards that I feel are good addition to the deck. Okay, let's check how many cards we have right now. So 29 cards and clean up. So a few 2-drops, some 3-drops. And I do want plenty of lands. Quite a few higher drops. So let's remove some of those. Let's remove the Contagion engine. It's probably very good, but at the same time, yeah. Hmm. How many planeswalkers do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. I'll actually remove the. I'll remove the Casmina. I don't think it actually works very well. 10 is quite enough. Except that Narset doesn't do very much because we have a lot of creatures currently. So I don't think Narset is going to be very good here, except for the passive ability. Okay, let's keep it for the time being. But okay, so 27 cards, and I do want to play quite a few lands. Okay, so let's add some cards here. Where's the... Okay, so Nature's Lore, Rampant Growth, and Farseek are kind of obvious choices. But also, I want the... What's it called? You know, it was one of those cards that were banned in Standard. Growth Spiral. So now 31 cards. I think I do want some more ramp effects. Well, let's see how many 2-drops we have now. So 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And obviously Kiora is also a ramp effect. So what I need to do now, or what I want to do now, is I want to... No. Let's see if we can find creatures with power is higher than 4, but CMC is less than 5. How many of these have 105? So let's add rares and mythics only. So Arix methods would work. It would trigger it at least, if nothing else. Trigger Kiora, I mean. But let's look at other things first before I decide on that. Okay, I like Haunted Troll very much. So yes. And also its power higher than or equal to 4. I'll definitely take 4 mana creatures that creatures that have 4 power or more. Let's see. So I'm not even sure what I want, but I guess I'll find it when I see it. Get Gem Razor, definitely. It won't trigger. Do I want it actually? Part of me says yes. Part of me says no. No. I don't think I want it. Like I'm not going to. It won't trigger Kiora, when I play it. So in that sense, it's not going to be very good. So if I mutated it, and also, but if I don't mutate it, I need to mutate it in order for it to destroy target artifact or enchantment. So in that sense, it's not going to be very good. So let's not play it. Harbinger is also interesting, but not necessarily very good. Goreclaw, another ramp card. Like you can see that some creatures just completely out of hand, even now. And if I have Goreclaw, I can pay this for 1 mana. So yeah. Groundbreaker would be funny. I already added the Haunted Troll. I am going to add the Haunted Phantasm as well. I really like the political cards. The problem is obviously they're not going to be very good when there's only 2 players in the game left. But before that, they're just very good. And I just like it. Lovestruck Beast. The interesting thing about Lovestruck Beast is that it gives me an extra sorcery, which is good in some cases in my deck, but not that many. Not that sure. I don't think I want it. Nightback Ambusher would be also interesting, but not really. Hmm, 9 years. Either one. Uh, hmm. Difficult decision. Because I do have a lot of permanents, but the permanence of my permanence might not be that good, if you get what I mean. Because, well, obviously someone can get rid of easily of planeswalkers. Questing Beast. Yes, definitely. Topiary Stomper, definitely. I'm even getting a little bit excited about some of these cards, as you can probably hear. No, Rona's the Indomitable. It also does trigger, and if I have a lot of creatures with 4 power or more, then yeah. Polukranos is also interesting. Surak is actually sort of interesting. Tassas are interesting, but I'm not sure. I don't think so. Again, I'll have to check my Uro, obviously. Vantress Gargoyle, maybe. Vengewine, maybe. Wolfbriar Elemental. I like Wolfbriar Elemental much more than I should, but I don't think so. Zeganam. Nah. Let's check what the decks looks like now. So now, if we look at edit the deck, I have how many cards? I think I now have too many. Yes, way too many cards. So let's clean up. And look at the curve. So it seems to me that I could afford to lose some of the 3-drops. Maybe some of the 3 and 4-drops. But on the other hand, a lot of the things I definitely want are in those spots. Tainted Observer, what is this? Oh yeah, it's that thing. So no. Ronas, yeah. It would trigger Kiora, but still, it's not going to be very good. Need a card of the hunt. Yeah, that's definitely an easy remove. The other Nylea would be much better. Apparently, I didn't manage to add it into the deck somehow. Okay, that's out anyway. Um, but now, okay, I have room for 23 lands. I do want more. I have to remember that it's a 58 card deck, and I do have Experimental Augury in my command zone as well as Kiora, which can both help with this. But still, regardless, I do want to have a lot of lands. Somehow I feel the Bloom Hulk might be the cut I want to make. Is it? Yeah, might be. As sad as it is. Um, yeah. Okay. Um, so 24 lands is quite close to, 25. Not really, but almost 25 lands in a 60 card deck. Equivalent to 25 lands in a 60 card deck. And I do have the Growth Spiral to draw early cards. I do have the Experimental Augury to draw early cards. I do have Fire Signature as well, Rampant Growth to also ramp early. Hopefully I draw at least one of those every time. And then 3 drops, I do have the Topiary Stomper. Nissa Vastwood Steer also finds me lands. Ura draws me cards and allows me to play extra lands. Gorglaw helps with the more expensive cards. It seems to me that, yeah, I still want to remove like just one high drop. But which one is it? I think it's Monsters Advocate. I do like it quite a bit. So that gives me room for 25 lands, which is again closer to 26 when you look at equivalent to kind of close to 26 when you compare it to, well, I guess I shouldn't say that. It's well, yeah, 25 lands, that's fine. So let's add some lands. Okay, way too many lands here. So let's use the rare. The rarity can come in. I'll stop with the duels, and then because I do have a lot of things that cost double one or another, and obviously I played Posei too. That's not actual question even whether I'm going to play that. And I am also do want to play things like Breeding Pool because of Farseek and Nature's Lore. Do I want to play Castle? I don't really have that creatures that cost that much mana, so probably not. Command Tower, obviously. Where are the duels? Well Fabled Passage. This is going to be way more expensive than I was thinking. But okay, Flooded Grove is actually pretty good in this deck. Again, Flooded Grove is very good in those specific situations where you want uh where you specifically need double mana for something. Do I want to be I want to be budget conscious, so I won't add Misty Rainforest, even though it would be very good. And as I'm saying this, I'm adding Otavara into the deck. Yeah, Prismatic Vista is I'm not even sure, is that still very expensive? It was at some point. And then Temple of Mystery, yeah. Tropical Island, no. Waterlogged Grove, yes. Yaviama Coast, yes. Okay. Let's check on the lands again. So dual lands, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I have room for 14 more lands. So what's the color balance here? I think there's a lot more green. But Experimental Augury is blue. So am I happy with 17-17? No. It would be, since I have Potato and Otavara, it would be 18 and 18. But that means that I only have a 9 here, so 60, so it would be 17 and 17. Am I happy with that? That's kind of on the low side. I would like to have like just a few more. But then again, I can also use Farseek and Rampant Growth and Nature's Lore to specifically get the color I'm at the need at that point, as long as I have the green mana and like yeah. Yeah, I'm going to be happy with that. I'm not going to overthink it. So edit deck. And add 7 forest, 7 island. So that should be a 60 card deck. Just check on that I didn't miss anything. Okay, now it's lagging. Yes, a 60 card deck. Can be kind of slow and might not have enough creatures, but I do have some creatures that are going to trigger the Kiora, and I can produce some creatures with Vivian of the Hunt and Nissa Ascendant Animist and Ren and 7 that are going to trigger it. And also Muyanling, weird enough. Yeah. again, without really knowing the meta, I think this is going to be fine. We can get advantages from our creatures. So it doesn't necessarily matter if they keep swept away. But on the other hand, I would rather not let anyone do that. Oh yeah, let's check the. Actually, it's kind of affordable, less than 200. Okay, not that much. Poseidon is the most expensive card. Not surprised by that. Uro is under 10. Oh, Prismatic Vista is much more expensive than I expected. I assumed that it didn't see a lot of play anymore. But okay, it seems fine. How is Farseek that expensive? 218. Okay, weird. That's Euro prices. Since I'm in Europe, okay, Farseek is quite expensive even in Europe. Weird. Anyway, um, yeah. So there you have it. So this is my Kiora deck with the plan of proliferating a bunch of planeswalkers. 10 different planeswalkers. So idea is to proliferate them so I can get advantages from them. And you know, Kiora is in itself mostly a ramp engine, but it also draws us cards in some points of the game, hopefully. A lot of rampy stuff. Not necessarily a lot of rampy, some rampy stuff, probably not enough. But yeah, still enough that I can justify the more expensive cards, even though the most expensive card here is just 7 mana. Yeah, I think I'll go with this. So thanks for listening. And yeah, I don't know how I feel about this, but I might be making more in the near future, but we'll see.